Celestia's Released Lust by Garfield 23. Chapter 1. Princess Celestia walked out the corridors of her vast home. As the moon shone in through the windows of the castle, she had had a busier day than normal, with a meeting with the Chancellor of Saudi Arabia, and now her bed was calling her. As she approached her room, she spotted her sister waiting for her by the door. "Luna, what seems to be the trouble, dear sister?" she asked as she looked at the face of her sister. She knew something was wrong. Tears were streaming down the dark blue pony's face, and Celestia felt her heart ache as she knew her sister's struggles. "Sister, I want to have a foal," Luna said with no uncertain terms. "I feel so unfulfilled of late, and maybe if I had a little foal to care for, then I would be more fulfilled." They had this discussion, and the answer was easy. "No. You know we cannot have foals, and we've talked about this," Celestia said, feeling her own heart break. While it was true that they had discussed the idea of having foals, the trouble was that such an undertaking had never been attempted for an untold amount of time. But then again, Celestia would have been lying to herself if she had said she herself had not given it a lot of thought. "Luna, please, we have to put the needs of Equestria ahead of our own wants and desires." Luna looked at the opposite wall with a look of deep sadness upon her face. "I just thought maybe the time had come, since we do have more help from 2 more princesses, and don't lie to me if you haven't felt the urge," she said, her sadness switching to frustration. "I want some foal to care for." Celestia's face softened. "So you went to the 2 foals, Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo. You helped them so you could fill that hole?" she asked. Luna had not told her, but she had found out in her own way. "You do know intruding on the dreams of our subjects is an abuse of your duty to protect dreams." Luna sighed. "I only did that to help them, and thanks to me they became better fillies." Celestia could tell her sister was on the verge of crying. "At least I don't buck my students!" She imminently looked horrified at what she had said. There was a long moment of silence before Celestia spoke. "Leave me. Now!" She was unable to control her anger. "You will not speak to me until I'm ready. Now get your horrible mouth out of my sight." Luna walked sadly away as Celestia opened the door to her room. As the door slammed shut, tears began to course down her face. She had not argued with Luna like this since that night, and now she had hurt her worse than ever. She climbed into her bed. She then closed her eyes, trying to force herself to fall asleep, but she suddenly felt herself thinking about Luna's comment. Was that what every pony thought? Did they think she had bucked Twilight? "No, I could never assort to that," Celestia said to herself. "Twilight is like a daughter to me." Suddenly a voice that sounded like hers, if she had a sore throat, filled her head. "But why do you waste your time concealing the lust you feel for Twilight?" Celestia said, "It's not like that. She's precious to me." "Just think about that violet little mare. Her tight flank, long mane, and that tail," the voice responded. Yes, she is so beautiful." Suddenly Celestia realized her hoof was massaging her mare, which by now was soaked. She shook her head. No, this can't be." "Why not?" the same evil voice said. "You are the ruler. Take what you want." Celestia continued to massage herself. "No, please, I can't, and Twilight would never forgive me." "Just think, that body, that mind, all of it could be yours," the voice stated. Suddenly Celestia could feel her resolve melt away. Yes, she will not be able to resist me, and I'll take my prize." Celestia got up from her bed and headed for the window, which she opened and spread her wings. "Twilight, my love, you'll be mine." Celestia flew for about 10 minutes before she arrived at the castle of the Princess of Friendship. She knocked on the door before opening it and made her way towards Twilight's room. It was then that a door with a toilet sign on it to her right opened, and Spike walked out, clearly very tired. But Celestia didn't have time to waste on the dragon. Her horn glowed with magic, and she used a knockout spell to knock the dragon out. She then arrived at her target, the door to Twilight's room. She quietly opened the door and spotted the object of her desire sound asleep in bed on the far side of the room. Celestia turned to the door she had just closed and locked it. She walked over to the bed, placed her head next to Twilight's as he gently stroked her mane, and said gently, "My sweet Twilight, I've been watching you grow, and now I'm ready for you." Twilight didn't even stir as Celestia shook her gently. "Twilight, my love, wake up." Twilight's eyes fluttered open. "Princess Celestia, what are you doing?" she began before Celestia wrapped her lips around Twilight's lips. Twilight tensed up and began to struggle. Celestia kept her front hooves around Twilight's waist as she continued to kiss Twilight. Celestia then pulled away. "I'm sorry, Twilight, but I can't help myself anymore. I love you," she said into Twilight's ear. Twilight looked flushed, but said, "Please kiss me again." She sounded so breathless. Celestia smirked and said, only if you accept my love. It was Twilight's turn to kiss as she wrapped her lips around Celestia's lips. After another few minutes of passionate kissing, they parted. Oh, Twilight, I love you so much. Please be mine and love me? Twilight smiled. Yes, my heart is yours. As she lay down and spread her back legs, revealing her marehood. As is my body, but please take me. Celestia positioned her mouth over Twilight's marehood and took a quick lick. You taste like a sweetest cake. She licked her lips. She then placed her hooves on the folds of Twilight's marehood and spread her, causing Twilight to release a loud moan. Are you ready for it? Twilight moaned and said, Hurry, please, I need it. Celestia positioned her flank over Twilight's face. Only if you lick me as well. Suddenly she felt Twilight's tongue trace around her own marehood. Whoa, stop teasing me. Twilight's tongue stopped. Only if you start licking me now. Celestia didn't need to be told twice. She plugged her tongue past Twilight's fold and deep inside her. Almost as soon as she started, she felt Twilight's tongue enter her. Both mares couldn't help but moan into their love's folds as they continued to explore with their tongues. Twilight was so amazing, her inner walls were clamping down on Celestia's tongue. Celestia still couldn't control her moans, and Twilight's flank was bucking against her tongue. Oh, Celestia, I'm going to... Twilight moaned into Celestia's folds as she climaxed. The taste of Twilight's sweet nectar sent Celestia over the edge, and she climaxed into Twilight's mouth. Celestia, your juices are so... sweet, she panted. Yours are so sweet that I want to taste them every day, Celestia said as she made sure she got every drop. Celestia and Twilight then lay next to the other for 20 minutes in the sweet feeling of the afterglow of their passionate love. Celestia kept stroking Twilight's wings as Twilight returned the feeling. As they stared into each other's eyes, they realized what they both wanted. Twilight, will you be my special sun pony? Celestia finally asked, breaking the silence. I cannot live without you. Twilight smiled. And I cannot live without you. It was then that they locked their mouths together, and Celestia knew her love had been right. Celestia, what about the others? What will they think? Celestia groaned. Yes, that is a problem. Luna will never accept this, and I don't know about your friends, she said as she continued to stroke Twilight's wings. But I don't want to give you up. Twilight smiled. Then I'm sure the others will accept this. She then kissed Celestia on the lips before her eyes closed. Celestia smiled as Twilight fell asleep. Celestia tucked her back into bed, knowing she had to get back to raise the sun, but knowing she had Twilight for support. As Celestia left the castle, she heard a cough from behind her. As she turned, she saw a pony hovering down from the upper part of the castle she had not expected, Rainbow Dash, who was now smirking, and Celestia's heart sank. So, Princess, what are you doing here? Rainbow Dash asked. Celestia cursed in her mind. I was here to, check on Spike, she stuttered. He sent me a letter about the castle supply room. Rainbow Dash landed and walked closer to Celestia. You sure? You weren't checking on Twilight? She said slowly. She was now only 2 feet away. On the inside of her mouth? What? Celestia said in complete shock. Had Rainbow Dash seen them making love? What did you... Rainbow Dash placed a hoof on Celestia's lips. I saw you two making love. It looked fun, she smiled. How about tomorrow night you come to me and I won't tell? Celestia was trapped and she had no choice. Alright, but if utter a word, I'll have your wings removed. Okay, better bring your A-game, Princess, Rainbow Dash said, trailing her hoof around Celestia's lips. She then lowered the hoof, turned around and took off. Celestia felt wetness develop under her tail. Oh, Rainbow Dash, you'll live to regret this, she said, and turned toward Canterlot as she flew off towards the capital.